However, the Rams have been a force, winning 6 of their last 7 games. They're playing inspired. Philly got off to a slow offensive start this postseason, but will have a chance to pick it up this round. Stephen A., do you feel like the Eagles are on upset alert versus the Rams?
I think the potential is there. I'm not saying I've got them losing this game because I do not. They're in Philadelphia at Lincoln Financial Field with Saquon Barkley in the backfield. I'm a roll with that. But I do think that the Rams have the potential to knock them off. I get where Jeff was coming from yesterday, listening to him all day yesterday when you were talking about how, that offensive line for Philadelphia is no joke. You're playing smash mouth football. They ran for 255 yards last time they saw the Rams, blah, blah, blah. All of that is absolutely positively legitimate. I don't see that happening twice, however. I see the Rams as being an improved squad. I look at Matthew Stafford and his playoff experience. I'm looking at Sean McVay and his experience. 39 years of age, already coached in 2 Super Bowls, already won a Super Bowl championship. I'm looking at a defense that shows up at least periodically. I'm looking at Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp and Higbee and those brothers in the lineup with Kyron Williams. And I just think that they have the weapons, they have the experience, they have the football IQ, they have the personnel to put off an upset. The Eagles should win this game, but they'll need their A game to do it. They can't show up with a B game and beat the Los Angeles Rams this weekend. They're going to need their A game.
Yeah.
I agree with they're going to need their A game. I would never underestimate a divisional round. You don't underestimate anybody, but definitely a Sean McVay coach team. One thing that Sean McVay has done in his 12 playoff games, he's never had a 100-yard rusher against one of his teams, which is saying something significant. So obviously he understands, as offensive-minded as we think he is as a head coach, he gets it, right? Stop the run and force them to beat you throwing the ball in the playoffs is usually a good formula to win. I will say this, though. Styles make fights. This matchup for me with the Rams, they're going because it's not like they're scared to play man. They're going to play man against A.J. Brown and Smith. They're going to walk down because they're going to have to do something to help themselves stop with Saquon Barkley. When they tried that in the past, they had one-on-one coverage. A.J. Brown was 5 of 6 for 99 yards and a touchdown. So it wasn't like that answer fixed the problem with Saquon. Saquon then goes off to have 4 runs that he's untouched. 2 of them were 70 yards and 79 yards. That's a lot. Something is going to have to give. Now, their defensive line has gotten better since they played. Obviously, we saw what they did against Minnesota. But make no mistake, Minnesota was a pass-first football team. This is the exact opposite. I think, to your point, Philly's got to have their A game, and it's got to start with that offensive line dominating the way they did the last time and then letting Saquon do his thing. But I'm with you. I still lean towards the Eagles getting this win, but they're going to have to play. They're going to have to play a good game, and a very similar game plan than they played last week when Philly won is going to have to be what they take in against the Rams this week.
Jeff, I completely agree with you in terms of the Rams' strategy on defense. They're going to have to play some man coverage against this Eagles team in order to stop the run. Only problem is they don't do it.
Yeah.
Like they play zone coverage 60% of the time. That's not something that they major in. So the playoffs is not the time where you want to be forced into doing something that's not your strength. And that's the problem with facing this Philadelphia Eagles team because they put opposing defenses in a blender. And beyond that, when you look at the matchups up front in the trenches, I have zero confidence that Rams front is going to be able to stop the run. I just don't.
Right.
What the Eagles did to them in Week 12 wasn't overly complicated.
No.
It was Saquon Barkley inside zone.
Between the tackle.
And we're going to do it whether he's in the dot, whether he's offset and shotgun, whether it's the pistol. It's going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley inside zone. The Eagles had 264 yards before first contact.
Contact.
I mean, Saquon Barkley is quite literally hitting his head on the goalpost.
Yeah.
He broke one for 70 in the third quarter.
Yeah.
And that was the play that broke the game open. So I just don't think that Rams defensive front has changed so dramatically where I think the matchups with that offensive line is going to be markedly different this time around.
The chances for the Rams are this, that Stafford and that offense score early. They get a turnover.
They better
on
take the
Eagles.
ball first.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And then put pressure on Kellen Moore, Nick Sirianni to get out of their game plan. Because you in the NFL, especially in the playoffs, you try to invite teams out of what they do. Like Spagnuolo did it against the Ravens in the AFC Championship game last year when they ended up running the ball like 15 times. You invite by your sets and by what you're doing defense to allow them, hey, we're going to throw the ball now. I just don't think that Kellen Moore is going to fall into that, or Sirianni. But I think that's what you got to do. Score early, put them behind, make them chase, make Jalen Hurts in that passing game kind of chase you. I just, it's a much easier to say that than do it.
But it is possible. As elite as Vic Fangio's defense has been in Philadelphia, it is possible.
Absolutely.
We're talking about Matthew Stafford with Sean McVay with a bevy of weapons to rely upon. And that's the thing that we have to be very, very careful of. What if L.A. comes out and they start off strong?
Yeah.
And they put Philadelphia on its heels. That may be the only strategy that works, but it's possible.
But here's the thing. In order to put the Eagles on their heels, that means your offense is going to have to throw the ball, because I don't think that they're going to be able to get much mileage in the run game against that front. And the last time those two teams played, they sacked Matthew Stafford 5 times.
Right.
So that Eagles defensive front is going to be able to get after that offensive line if they want to major in it being a straight drop back game.
I will say this, though. Stafford against the Vikings, that Stafford, his first throw, I forget who it was. Was it Higbee? Somebody, whatever it was, over the top. The first dot that he puts in over that seam route, I knew right then it was going to be a Matthew Stafford day.
Yeah.
But he can, listen, as hot as he can get cold sometimes, too. He has to play that Matthew Stafford level to give them a shot.
But the reason he was able to get the ball out of his hands quickly was because Brian Flores blitzes a lot, especially on first and second downs.
Yeah, putting
so a guy like Matt Stafford knows exactly where he's going. He's been in that scheme with McVay for 4 years now. He knows exactly where he's going with the football.
Yeah.
This is going to be a little bit different because Philly doesn't have to rely on blitzing in order to put pressure on the quarterback. So what are you going to do when you have 7, 8 sets of eyes looking back at the quarterback and what he's trying to do in terms of getting the ball out of his hand quickly?
Yeah.
And as Matthew Stafford mentioned, obviously the LA Rams playing inspired for their city when they played in Arizona. And we want to remind everyone, please help people. Funny breaking news into First Take. Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers is declaring for the NFL draft. The decision ends a career at Texas that saw him go 21-5 as a starter the last 2 years, revive and lead the Longhorns to the school's only 2 CFP appearances. Jeff Saturday, I'll come to you first. Your reaction to Quinn declaring for the 2025 NFL draft?
Yeah, I'm surprised. I feel it's probably got a lot to do with the guy who's behind him and, being Arch Manning.
Absolutely.
Kind of what that looks like. But, yeah, I'm a little surprised. I'm surprised he wasn't one more year in school, even if it wasn't at Texas. But, good luck to him. Obviously, you wish the best for all of them. It's just a little bit surprising, I guess.
Yeah, you ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell out of here. That's what Steve Sarkisian is saying, because Arch Manning is going to be the starting quarterback for Texas in 2025. The thing that surprised me the most is just how he underwhelmed in the losses to Georgia, both in the regular season conference championship game and then, of course, what he did against Ohio State in the CFP. I thought he needed a little bit more seasoning.
Me too, yeah.
But based on how light this quarterback class is, maybe he felt like this was his best opportunity.
He could push up in the draft.
No doubt.
Could be.
Yep.
The man knows this is Arch Manning's team. He knows that like you said, you ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell up out of here. That's why he entering the NFL draft. It's not to say he can't play. It's not to say that he can't end up being a good quarterback on the National Football League level. We wish him nothing but the best. But in the same breath, Arch Manning showed up. You had people clamoring for Arch Manning even as the Texas Longhorns were making their run to the college football national semifinal. And so when you look at it from that standpoint, this was inevitable. We get it. I'm not surprised, Jeff, that he made this decision at all. It's a decision that he had to make. Another program on a collegiate level and risking showing up the way you showed up against Notre Dame. I'm sorry, not Notre Dame, but Ohio State. I mean, clearly that's not what you want. So therefore, go to the pros and press your luck that way. I'm not surprised by this decision at all.
All right, we'll keep it pushing, guys. The Eagles welcome the Rams to Lincoln.
GFR 2017 का मैनुअल हाथ पे रख ले. हम लोग शुरू करते हैं रूल 163, जिसमें हम बात करेंगे 2-bit सिस्टम के बारे में. अब ये 2-bit सिस्टम होता क्या है? कभी भी कोई ऐसा सामान जो बहुत ही कॉम्प्लेक्स नेचर का हो या बहुत ही हाई वैल्यू हो, प्लांट सेटअप के लिए कुछ हो, मशीनरी कोई चाहिए हो, जिसमें या बहुत टेक्निकल अगर कोई इक्विपमेंट है, तो उसमें जो बिडिंग होती है ना, वो 2 तरीके से होती है, मतलब 2 स्टेज में होती है. पहले में क्या होती है, तो जैसे ये 163 का क्लॉज 1 में फर्स्ट पार्ट की क्या बताई गई है कि फर्स्ट होता है टेक्निकल बिड. ठीक है, तो टेक्निकल बिड में क्या होता है, जो भी टेक्निकल डिटेल्स होते हैं बिडिंग के कमर्शियल टर्म में उसको लिखा जाता है। सपोज मान लीजिए कि मशीनरी, एक बहुत महंगी मशीनरी हमें प्रोक्योर करनी है, ठीक है, बहुत बड़ी वैल्यू की है, सपोज 50 करोड़ की है, 10 करोड़ की है, जो भी है, वैल्यू यहाँ पर फिक्स नहीं किया गया है, ठीक है, पर एक लार्ज प्लांट के लिए एक मशीनरी, कोई महंगी मशीन जिसमें टेक्निकल बहुत